Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, we want to welcome you to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather to see the lectures and interviews organized by MindaliaTV.com. Today with us, Angel Rebo, CEO, coach, TV host, international speaker, and founder of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is going to be interviewing Jami and Marla Keller. They are forgiveness and relationship coaches serving couples and individuals for 23 years. They are authors and speakers. Jami and Marla lead seminars and workshops internationally and work with couples privately, overcoming infidelity and lack of passion in all forms. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia TV is a nonprofit organization. Our only mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world, and you can help us. How? Subscribing to our channel if you haven't done it yet, leaving us a positive comment down below, leaving us a like with the hand like this, and you can also share this video with someone that you know that is going to benefit from the content we're going to be talking today. We want to also remind you that while we are live streaming, like right now, we have the active chat. It's a great tool for you to interact with us. You just need to please remember the format, the word question in caps, and the actual question that you want answered. At the end of the conference, Jami and Marla will be kind and answer. Also, last but not least, the great news, you can collaborate with Mindalia TV now in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Mindalia Televisión, as you already know, Mindalia TV English, and Mindalia Televisao. You can go to our different platforms, see all the content that we're sharing there. And if you have valuable information that you want to share through our platforms, you just go to our website. On the top of the page, you will find a link. That link is going to take you to a form that you're going to fill out. Our technical team will be contacting you. Without further delay, I am going to be leaving you with Angel and Jami and Marla. Guys, the screen is yours. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mirna. Welcome, 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 Jami and Marla. We are super excited on Mindalia TV to have you here with us tonight. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
We're super excited to be here too. Thank you for Angel inviting us.
I was really fascinated by Mirna's introduction. And you are so close. You look so close on the screen. For how long have you been together? I don't know if I can ask that question.
Sure, absolutely. We've been together for 31 years. We just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary.
Yep.
And to do that, we got our rings tattooed on our fingers.
Yeah.
So
mine needs a little touch up.
Yeah, we just got them done, and fingers are tricky apparently.
We decided that 30 years probably we're gonna make it. So
yeah, it's probably safe to put a tattoo on.
So exactly, I was gonna ask you, are those like a permanent tattoos?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Oh my God.
She sat in the chair and she's like all calm and collected, and it's not a big deal. And I'm like, okay, it won't be a big deal. He touches that thing to my finger, and I about came out of my skin. But yes,
that's commitment.
They're permanent.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, after 30 years, that's a real commitment. And obviously, it's obvious that besides being so close that we cannot even see the board which is standing between you two, what's the meaning of that beautiful board? What's that about?
Well, this is our feeling wheel 4.0. We're actually just now getting the graphics done for the 5.0 version, and the feeling wheel is a tool that we use for couples and even singles to express themselves better so that they can have a more intimate relationship.
It's really more about going to the heart place, because oftentimes one of the biggest complaints with couples is communication. And most of the time, this is stereotyping a little, but most of the time the men are like, oh, she has so many words. And the women are like, but you never hear me. And so I have to say all those words. So the feeling wheel allows people to pick out feelings with what's going on with them and sharing simply the feeling instead of the whole story. So
it makes all the difference.
All right. So I'm extremely fascinated by that chart. We'll go back to the chart later. But 30 years, 31 together, 30 of marriage. I mean, why is it so difficult to stay together in a marriage? Why?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's because we have blind spots. We don't know what we don't know. And so And so what happens is we fall in love, we get all connected, and it's a lot like third grade. You remember third grade? Boy tags girl, says, "Aha, you're it," and he runs away, right? And then she chases him, maybe, and then maybe she catches him, and then she gives up, or she runs the other way, and now he has to decide.
Okay.
So in the middle. In the middle, yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah. And so in the middle of our wheel, you can see there the fear in the middle, and then control, abandonment on either side. So every relationship has this control, abandonment loop, and we call that the key dagger. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a key dagger. You marry someone within 5 points of your IQ, and with a matching emotional issue. And so
maybe not the same
exact
issue,
but a matching one.
But something that is like the rocks in my head fit the holes in his.
Oh, I see. Because I was gonna put a stop here. You're so excited and you love each other so much, and the energy is flowing so fast. Let's try to help the audience. Okay, let's go little by little, just to make sure everybody understands. So, all right. So you said there's 5. You said 5.
5 points of IQ. So you're just as smart as your partner.
Okay.
You're just as smart.
To marry people who are as smart as we are?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, fantastic.
Well, and usually that's the case, but almost every couple we work with, one of them will say, "I'm not as smart as they are." And they don't realize that, well, you wouldn't be very attracted to the other person if their intelligence wasn't at least close to what yours is, because it would be boring, or it would be too intense, or whatever that looks like. So, and what Jami was talking about with the control abandonment cycle, that thing that every single couple has when they come in to see us, we help with that because we can relate. Everything we teach, we either still do, or we have done it in the past, worked on those tools. Most of them we still use. And the control abandonment is, in our relationship, I was the controller, identified, and Jami was the identified abandoner. And what that looked like was, he might come home after a really busy day, maybe 12 hours, when our kids were little. They're now 27 and 28 years old. We have daughters. We have a son-in-law too. But he'd come home and the kids it'd been maybe a crazy day. And I'm so grateful to have an adult to talk to. And I'd be, "Oh, I'm so happy you're home." And he would say, "It's been a crazy day. I need to go take a bike ride with your brother." And I'd say, "Sweetly, but in my heart, I'm not feeling very sweet." And I would say, "Okay, all right. Well, I was hoping that we could do something together." And then he would feel my heart, and he would say, "No, really, I need this. I'm going to go." And I would say, now expressing my anger, "Really? I've been here all day with the kids and I can't believe this." And then Jami would say, "Well, now for sure I'm going." So that was, for our relationship, that was the control abandonment cycle. And all it had to be was me being afraid that he was going to abandon me. And so I would start to control.
So according to your experience, do you think that we typically, all the couples, fall into that same kind of dynamic?
Yes.
One way or the other.
It changes. We all do both. See, I was the identified abandoner, but here's a little secret. Oftentimes the abandoner is the better controller, right? I use my abandonment to manipulate the situation, right? And then we flip. So her primary is controlling, my primary is abandoning, but then every once in a while we switch. Right, so this control abandonment process, this tag from third grade, right? It grows into a dynamic where we call it the honeymoon cycle, right? So you fall in love, everything's peaches and cream, everybody's happy, and then the tension builds and builds and builds and builds, and now it's the nightmare, right? It's the conflict, and then we have to either make up, right? So we can do it all over again, or we split apart at that moment.
Okay, so how can we help our audience on Mindalia TV so that first they're able to identify? I think probably the metaphor, the comparison that you made probably is good enough for finding those roles. But second, how can we use that to, you know, to stay in love and have this wonderful relationship, you know, with all that passion and enthusiasm and everything that goes with it that everybody dreamt of since we were kids?
Sure. And I would say, first of all, make one agreement. Make one agreement in your relationship. And that is that your feelings are real no matter what they are. So oftentimes we'll come to our partner and we'll say, oh, I'm so frustrated and angry. And our partner will say, well, don't be. You know, no, you're not. You know, and so that message that we get from childhood, from our parents, you know, children should be seen but not heard. Your feelings don't matter is kind of a message we all get.
It's a shut up, I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah, you know,
some of us heard
that. Some of us heard just relax, right? And so whatever that was, you know, don't make mommy and daddy upset. You know, don't let your feelings get in the way. So we have this message in our cultures that says that our feelings aren't very real. And so then when we have a relationship, we start to talk about our feelings and it gets very confusing. So if we can make the agreement that your feelings are real no matter what they are, and only you are responsible for making them better.
I have to confess, I'm having a hard time to be only an interviewer here today, you know. But
it's okay, Angel. Your feelings are real. Your feelings are real.
How do you feel right now?
It's okay.
So I think I'm gonna run to see my wife after this interview, like as fast as I can. But let's continue. Let's continue the discussion, which is amazing. Okay, we perceive that, and then we are trying to use it. So the feelings are real. I think that's extremely important, and I agree with you about the reason why we actually grow up and we tend to hide those feelings. Okay, so what do we have to do? So I would say, what do we do with the feelings once first, that we're able to express them. Second, we're able to acknowledge that the other one has them and they are real, they are genuine. What's next?
Right. Okay, so then remember what we call the abundance rule. Okay, so the abundance rule is there's nothing you won't do for me if I can explain your pain as well or better than you.
Say it again. Can you say it again?
Yeah, so there's nothing you won't do for me, Angel, if I can explain your pain better than you can.
Mm-hmm.
If I can explain your pain better than you, then you know that I get you. You know that I really am empathetic. I am connected. I get it. You know, missing your wife is a terrible problem. I totally understand. The days are too long. You need a little more love, Angel. I get it. I get it.
Okay.
So now, if that's your worst pain, and I did it right, you would be willing to give me whatever I've asked for. So that's the trick to a relationship. If I can connect with Marla and I can let her know that her pain is real and I understand it and that I totally get it, then she's going to say, "Oh, I love you."
I agree.
Well, it's in the Jami said the word empathy. Really, truly, it's about engaging with empathy and humility with your partner. So if you are able to hear their feelings, and let's just say that in that scenario about the mountain bike riding and the bike riding, if instead of being in that triggered, meaning my heart was in kind of a angry, hurt place, instead of letting myself stay there, say, wait a minute, okay, right now, and be able to say to him, right now, I feel frustrated and confused and hurt. And I simply want you to know that that's what I'm experiencing. I get that you need some time to go ride. And in the future, I'd maybe a little bit of pre-warning would be great. And if I can say it like that and honestly come from a place of empathy and humility and be totally okay with whatever he says and not afraid of what he's going to say about abandoning me or whatever, it changes how I feel and it changes how he experiences it. So it's that understanding that your feelings are real, your partner's feelings are real, being able to understand the feelings that you're actually feeling, which does take some practice.
Take some practice. Most of us don't have very good word connection with how we feel. So we hear a lot of, I feel good. I feel bad. Those aren't feelings. Those are descriptors, right? And so what is going on with that bad feeling? Where is it? What is it? Can you name it? And that's the beauty of the feeling wheel, is having, and you can get a free feeling wheel, by the way, at our website, passionprovokers.com. Yeah. So it's a good start just to look at it, just to kind of get a grip on what feelings do I have? What are the names of the feelings? And when you speak feelings, it literally changes how you feel. Right?
Yeah.
So we are now speaking feelings. Everybody with their partners, right? We're speaking feelings. So we feel understood. We feel like the other one really, gets it.
Right. So they hear us. Yes.
They hear us and they understand us, and they even make an effort to understand us. So do you think that's one of the secrets for being able to keep that relationship in that place where we always be able to keep the flame lit?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's counter, most people don't feel like they can share all their feelings with their partner. Like they might get judged, or they might be laughed at, or they might be ignored, right? And so building that relationship requires, kind of that agreement that your feelings are real and that I'm willing to hear them. And also, we don't make our decisions based on our feelings. We make our decisions based on our values. Right?
What would happen what would change in the couples of the world if we actually made those decisions, not, based on the feelings? What would happen?
Mary, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say, if my value, one of my number one values is loyalty. And another one of my values is peace, or that space of peace and gratitude. Those are very much values for me. And so if I'm able to speak my truth through that loyalty, I'm loyal to my own self and my experience, and I'm loyal to our relationship. And I also desire peace and gratitude and connection in that relationship. When I'm speaking my feelings, when I'm coming from that place, it changes how my feelings are when I speak them. And so if I'm filtering what I'm speaking through my values, it's totally different than if I filter it through my blind spots, which is my blind spots would be that initial response that says, it's the amygdala response. Your heart says to the almond-shaped piece of your brain, fight, flight, or freeze. And so your amygdala says, do I want to fight, flight, or freeze? Well, right now I'm going to fight. If I go there, then I've lost it already. But if I feel the trigger and I wait 5 seconds, just 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to respond. And I'm thinking, when I respond, I want to respond from my value source. What are my 4 top values? And then I respond from the value instead of the feeling, because my feeling may be angry, hostile. Who knows what my feelings are, right? But if I can put those and say, okay, wait a minute, my value is not anger. My value is not hostility. My value is loyalty. I'm loyal to me. I'm loyal to us. My value is peace. I want to make sure that we are in a peaceful, connected space. And my value is gratitude. What am I grateful for this person? So it allows that pause. That pause allows for me to respond to the person that I love, as opposed to seeing him through the eyes of my blind spots that are there from way early on in my life. Those blind spots that say, you're not important, you're not enough. Wait a minute, I'm going to set those aside and look through that and say, nope, these are my values. I love this person. I choose connection. So that, for me, that would be how I would go with my values as opposed to my feelings.
And to answer your question, Angel, the marriages would flourish and communities would grow in love and production and we would have a much more supportive environment for everybody. One of the things that's happened in the last 80 years is we've lost community. And it begins with the marriage.
May I be allowed to challenge you?
Yes.
Please.
Always.
Bring it, Angel. We're ready.
Exactly. All right. So do you think, because again, we live in an environment, last time I saw the statistics about how many people get divorced, it was just insane. I thought I was wrong. I was really on the wrong place. But I mean, do you think that really in general, even when they get married, they really have figured out what those values are within the relationship?
No,
Not usually.
I think that most people forget about values, and so that shift I was speaking of over the last 80 years that I profile in my book, The Age of Narcissism, right? We live in the age of narcissism. What's happened is in 1940, 150 people would know your name, they would know your dad's name, and they would know what kind of job you did. And if you did a bad job, they would tell your dad. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That was 80 years ago. And all of history before that was true. All of history for all of time up until 40 years ago. How many people today do you have in your life that know your name, your dad's name, and when you do a bad job, they tell him? Zero. We have moved.
Your wife. No.
Yeah, maybe. She might, right?
No,
so
one
I
of
doubt
my
it.
kids.
Yeah,
One of
your
children, right? They keep me accountable. I can tell you that.
Good
if
point.
Not all
point.
three, at least one of them keeps me like.
Yes, that's our girls too. That's our kids too.
And so much of what we do in our coaching, coaching couples, is really helping them find those values and to speak their love in truth. Right?
Truth and love.
Truth and love. Speak their truth and love. I said that backwards. You're right. But because you know what? Here's the thing. We need to know how to speak our truth and ask for what we really want and need.
And so for finding values for those who are watching, to find your top 4 values, sit down, take some time and go over. You can get online and Google values, and it'll give you a list of more than 100. And you can look at those values and say, which ones are really, really important to me? What are my top values? And start from there. And then get the feeling wheel and say, okay, when I am connecting with my partner, what values do I want to really highlight? And how do I want to express that to them? And the really best thing you can do is practice these things when you're not having an argument or you're not in conflict or there's not tension, because then you can get used to them and you can have that great practice. But if you're trying to say, well, my top value is loyalty and you are not being loyal and I'm angry, that is not going to be effective at all.
We have a values worksheet. If people want to email us for it, we'll be happy to send them one for free.
Okay. So let's say there's plenty of different conflicts that a couple can go through. Okay. Many. What would you say is the number one, the most common that you see every day in your practice?
Well, definitely communication.
So that they don't feel like they communicate effectively among them, between them?
Yep. So they're feeling like generally one of them, and it's usually the woman, and she'll say, I will ask him something and I'll ask for it and I'll ask for it. And then I'll say, so it's kind of like you go like this. You ask him one way, maybe sweetly, it doesn't work. You ask him with maybe different words, sweetly again, it doesn't work. You get a little bit more irritated. So you ask him in a more irritated tone, in a different way. And it doesn't work. You're not getting the response you're looking for. So you keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it until you guys are like, boom, because nobody wants to have a conversation.
And it gets louder every time.
Yeah.
It gets louder every time. And so that the noise gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the perfect formula to tackle that situation?
The perfect formula. Everybody's different, right? But we have a tool that we teach called check-in. It's so simple.
Check it.
So check in, right?
Like
Check-in.
I'm gonna check in with you right now.
Right. And all you do is you make an event out of the last 24 hours, right? So let's just say today when our friend came over, right? Today when our friend came over, that's the event. That's it. No more story. Stop there. I felt. Then you say the feelings. 3 feelings off the wheel, right? So today when our friend came over, I felt excited, connected, and loving. Right? Now she knows how I felt when that happened.
And the way that we teach it is that the one partner who starts, and we generally do every other day, odd days, Jami will start the check-in process because he's odd. No, kind of. And then on the even day, I will start check-in. So whoever starts check-in, they get to check in, have their 3 events with 3 feelings per event, and ending with that a gratitude or a positive one, and saying I pass. The other person is intentionally listening. There's no TVs on, there's no devices, there's nothing between us. We have an open stance, we have our palms up, and we're in an accepting space to hear what the other person is saying. So if I go first, I do those 3 things like Jami was the example that he showed was that if I were going to go back to the bicycle conversation, I would say something like, yes, last night when you came home, and you wanted to go on the bike ride, I felt frustrated, irritated, and angry, or whatever that looked like. And then I would say something like, today when our friend came over, I felt positive and happy, and also frustrated. And then I would, and later on we could talk about why that is. But in this setting, that's it. He doesn't say anything about that necessarily. And then I would say a positive, like, when you heard me earlier and you really heard my heart and you gave me a hug, I felt loved and valued and appreciated. And then I'd say, I love you and I passed. We say I love you and pass. Every couple does it differently. And then Jami then would have the chance to respond to what I've just said if he wants to, but he can use his own three events with 3 feelings attached to it.
Very simple, very broken down. 5 minutes or less. And then you take a break.
Okay. Oh, then you take a break?
Yeah, no talking for 15 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay. You have everything figured out. I mean, that's amazing. You have everything figured out.
It's hopefully
lots of practice, lots of clients. We've had like 4,000 clients that have done this, and it is we didn't used to say take a break, but if you take an hour to do this, you won't do it tomorrow. But if it's only 5 minutes, you can do it every day.
And we go ahead.
No.
We recommend 21 days in a row, which is, as you know, creates a new habit. So do this for 21 days in a row, no matter what's going on, so that you can get it into that habitual place. And what we have noticed when couples do this is that it changes the way they interact, and it allows for them to, instead of having the tension grow and grow and grow between them and not talk about whatever it is that's hurting them. And then it's like a balloon that you put air in, and it grows and then it bursts because you're so angry by the time you finally let it all out. The check-in every day allows you to let that air out slowly and healthfully, so there isn't that big explosion.
Wow. So when you do the checking, when you say, I guess both of you say checking, or one of you say checking, or the or of the couple, what is really happening? Let's say from a psychological perspective, what happens in that moment that makes it so good or appropriate to break what might be happening instead?
I think the key really is in not talking while your partner's talking. It lets your heart receive and really kind of get what's going on with the partner. That's the magic. Heartmath.org has done amazing stuff. Their research is top notch, and they have proven that the heart is the one that decides to tell the brain to fight, flight, or freeze. So your heart is in control. And the problem in most coupleships, the problem with marriages, is that my words,
The tension actually.
and it's only, there's no problems really. There are only tensions to be managed. It's not, you can't just solve the problem of marriage, because then it would be blah, right? But the tension to manage is that to make sure my heart and my mouth are in sync, that my words are saying what my heart is saying, and that my heart is in connection with hers.
Okay, we're reaching the end of the first part of this wonderful interview. We're having so much fun. I'm sure that Mindalia TV's audience is having a blast today. It's just amazing. We love you already. So you were featured on this amazing movie,
Yes.
which is the movie The Lead. Could you tell us two things? Number one, what makes that movie so special? And second, how does it feel to be featured in a movie?
Okay, so what makes the movie special
is
that it comes from a perspective. I mean, it's kind of like watching reality something, because it's real lives, it's people's real lives. And each of the clients, our client is Chad, and Chad's the relationship coaching client. He is, at that time, what they talk to him, I mean, what they say is, he's the 43-year-old virgin, right? And he's looking for a relationship. So he was our client. And then there was a life coaching client, a client who was business coaching, and then executive business coaching. So there were 4 different clients. So it follows their experience with all the different coaches. So Chad, if we just focus at where we were, Chad had 9 different coaches. And we were considered one coach, because, anyway, I don't know why.
31 years of relationship.
Yeah, exactly. We've become one.
Exactly.
Become one.
So for us, the most impactful part of this was more than meeting Chad and having our 45 minutes with him. That was really, really an amazing experience. The biggest piece to this for us was all the other amazing coaches, not just our clients' coaches, but all the other coaches that are a part of this movie. Everybody has such a dynamic ability to connect with their clients, and such diverse ways of creating change in those people. A lot of similar things, but also so many diverse things that it's kind of like, oh, that's a cool way to do it, and that's a cool way to do it. And we all have an important piece. And so watching that and watching the whole thing is like, oh, wow, wrapping it up at the end in this beautiful package of what's going on with them. The story says so much about, not necessarily about the coaches per se. It says more about the transformation that happens in a client when they choose to step into this type of an environment.
Yeah, for the viewers, it's in one movie sitting, 90 minutes, you get the benefit of 43 world-class coaches.
Mm-hmm.
We were amazed. We got the quality of the coaching there. We got, as part of the process, we got coached by Mark Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Thompson was Steve Jobs' coach. Richard Branson, sitting presidents, that kind of thing. And he was, he's one of our heroes, and him and Benita gave us some coaching, and it was just phenomenal. And you get that kind of a benefit by just watching this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the movie already? Available? Can we watch it already?
Well, you can come to Boise October 4th.
Okay.
And see the Boise premiere.
Okay.
I think that's the next showing, and then it's going to be available in the not too far distant future on Amazon and iTunes.
I believe it's October 10, around October 10.
Yeah.
That'll be then released on Amazon and Hulu And so people can see it there as well.
Is there a web page where
Yes,
people can know more about?
Leap.com.
No. Yeah, no.
Oh.
It's coachingmovie.com.
Oh, that's right.
And coachingmovie.com, it has all of it shows you who all's in it. It shows you the trailer. It shows you all the different things that are connected to Leap the movie. And the reason it's coachingmovie.com instead of leap.com is because the title came out of the experience, as opposed to putting a title on it before the experience. So that's the leap is as you probably already know, but as the audience doesn't know, is that it's the leap idea came from them jumping out of, one of the clients jumping out of an airplane. So that was this transformational experience, but they all had that feeling and that transformation, even though they didn't all jump out of the airplane.
Fantastic. Would you please mention also, how can we find you online? How, if you want to reach out to you, let's say we have a wonderful, marriage, but we still want to have a much better, more passionate, more love, more excitement, more surprise, more everything. How can we reach out to you guys?
We are at passionprovokers.com.
That's the best way.
Just go and there, and you can schedule a free session right on the front page, and we'll be glad to connect with you. We use Zoom, and we have a great time with that free session, just getting to know people and giving what we can.
And if they love Facebook, we also have a business page on Facebook, Passion Provokers, and you can go there and see kind of our daily, whatever fun stuff we put up there on day to day.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's go to the question. There's a few in here. What can we expect if there's more than 5 IQ points in difference in a couple?
Really
first of all, I would challenge the premise. Make sure, there are different kinds of intelligence. So some people might have a verbal IQ, right? And others might have an emotional IQ. All right. So there's different, like math and English, there might be differences. We have many physicians that we work with, right? And oftentimes their partners, male or female, will be a little surprised when we say, "Oh, you're just as smart as your partner." And the truth is, they are.
Well, and there's book smarts, and then there's the more connection smart. There may be like if Jami and I took an IQ test, I couldn't guarantee you that it would come out within 5, because often doesn't give you like EQ, emotional intelligence, and those kinds of things. So there's so much wrapped up in it, but definitely the things that you would see, because I think that was the question. What would you see if there was a big difference? It would be possibly one of them being able to well, and this is actually could be personality too. It doesn't necessarily have to be IQ, but being bored with something that your partner likes to talk about. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean there's an IQ difference.
Yeah.
It just means that there might be. And mostly it would be the passion is different between a couple who has closer IQ than further away.
Yeah, there would be boredom, I think, and there would be the potential for manipulation, right?
Yeah.
If you're smart,
on the dark side of it,
on the dark side, right? So statistically, all marriages that last longer than about 2 years are within 5 points. Like 90-some%. I don't know what that is, but it's really high.
Well, and I mean, obviously we can't account for things like, because the culture we grew up in, we don't account for things like, say, arranged marriages.
Right.
So we couldn't speak to that specifically, but that could be something where you see a really big difference in how you are connected to the other person. And really, truly, it's about the connection. If you are really far apart in your IQ or your EQ, then you're going to be much more disconnected emotionally, heart to heart, than you would be if you're closer.
And education plays a factor there, right? But that's fixable today, right? You can get if you can get a smartphone in your hand, and you're eager to learn. There's just reading. Just reading would be you can get an education just from there. I mean, I'm not an expert in this, but I've seen, that this is possible. You can audit all of MIT's classes online for free.
Oh, really?
And that's a fact.
Wow.
Yeah, you can go.
You won't get a degree.
You don't get a degree. It's an audit, but you get to watch and listen to the instructors, and and in today's economy, knowing how to do something is far more important than having the degree, in my mind. But that's the thing.
Excellent. Let's go to the next question. How can we know if things in a couple are definitely irreconcilable? How can we know that?
It's a really good question. I just answered what to do when you know it's over on Quora yesterday. And knowing that a relationship is over, how do you know when, right? So when it's unsafe, right? When it's unsafe for someone to be in that relationship needs to be over. When there is ongoing abuse, right? That's unsafe, right? But also when there is the inability to be honest.
Well, and I would say when one partner is totally unwilling to do anything to work through it.
Right.
So one person, what we see sometimes is we'll have individuals come to us that are still in their relationships. And they say, well, my partner won't come, but I want to do better so that if it doesn't work out, I will be doing better. But if it does work out, great. And really a high percentage of those people, they go home, they take their tools with them. They're not telling their partner what to do. They're just using their tools. And it does change their relationship. And it ends up being a beautiful relationship. And they'll oftentimes bring their partner to us because the partner's like, hey, what are you doing? What's different? But if one partner really is not willing to change, even with the couples, so we have a 97% success rate keeping couples together, even if they've been separated or divorced. And then also for couples who would like you said, just go from good to great or from great to fantastic. And so we have a 97% success rate with that. The 3% always includes a person who is either not telling the truth, or they aren't willing. They'll do the work, but they don't really want to change.
They really don't want to be in the relationship. Yeah. Often staying in the relationship is the path of least resistance for them. Mm-hmm. And they don't really care to make the changes that they would small changes that would make a big difference in the relationship.
Yeah. Excellent. Next question. What is your tool to deal with infidelity? That's a tough one.
It is. Well, and to be honest, we actually have had infidelity in our relationship. And all the tools we teach are the tools that we have a lot of couples that come to us because of infidelity, because they know that we survived it. And we're not just survivors, we're thrivers. And we're more passionate than we've ever been. Infidelity is not the death knell to a relationship. As much as people might say, well, if that ever happened, I'm out of here. You don't know until you are there. And you don't know what is possible until you say, okay, yes, I am crushed. There are people that can't get over it and they decide to divorce. But most of the time, people say, okay, give us the tools. Let us see what we can do. I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to see what happens. And we did. And we made it. And we didn't just make it. We're here telling you this story, right? So it's pretty amazing that, it'd be very difficult for me to say this is the one thing or this is the other thing, except for find good help.
Right? Well, and forgive. So here's the kicker. Infidelity is a symptom. Mm-hmm. It's not the problem. Yeah. The problem started before that. And it has to do with being honest, being connected, and asking for your needs to be met, right? Mm-hmm. That emotional connection is what stabilizes the sexual connection. And infidelity is both. It's emotional affairs and it's physical affairs. Mm-hmm. And so by finding out, by forgiving, and now forgiveness does not make it okay, by the way. Forgiveness is just for the forgiver, so that they can build a new boundary, right? So if there's infidelity, I forgive my partner so that I can now be more aware, so that I can be more connected to what was going on to see if it can be fixable, right? So good help is what Marla said is really important. You really doing part of the problem. We talked about the divorce rate earlier. Part of the problem is, again, the lack of community support. Most, so most of the people that we talk to today, our clients say, like the male clients we have, they talk to their buddies and they're all, get divorced. Oh, she's just going to cheat on you again. Once a cheater, always a cheater. No, all those things, they're not in this marriage, right? That advice is not necessarily good. And it's important to have a community around you to get that accountability. And that's what we end up being a lot of the times, is that community.
Beautiful. Last question, because we are a little bit over time, and it's so fascinating. It's an amazing learning experience for everybody on Mindalia TV. We are sure of that. The ultimate goal is to stay in the relationship regardless of the situation, or being happy as an individual.
Okay, you got to start with being happy as an individual. If you are not happy as an individual, then staying in the relationship is not going to be productive, nor will it be happy, the relationship. So absolutely, for me, I had to find my value and my worth. Jami couldn't be my savior. I couldn't be his savior. I had to find my value and worth here. I had to know that I was enough, whether or not he loved me. And he had to do the same thing. Our infidelity had way more to do with Jami trying to prove to me he was unlovable than it did didn't have to do with sex, didn't have to do with any of those things. It had to do with proving to me that he wasn't lovable. And I was doing the same thing because I didn't feel like I was enough. And then that triggered what he did, made me feel like it was even more not enough. And I wasn't pretty enough, or I wasn't thin enough, or whatever that was, the baloney that we make up about it, right? And so for you, really, this foundation has to start here. And do not stay in the relationship at all costs. Do not lose yourself first and foremost.
Yeah, we fight for relationships oftentimes more than the people that are in the marriage.
Yeah.
Because the value of your relationship, 10 years, 5 years, 25 years, that's a long time to invest your life. And you
have kids, maybe.
And just because there's something that happened, like an affair or some growing apart, doesn't mean that time has to be wasted. Like Marla said, 97% of the time, people that follow our process through the end stay together happier than ever, because they don't know the blind spots that they have.
That's amazing. I mean, I never heard of anybody ever.
There are two other corporations or people that do what we do, that we know of, that have the same kind of success rate.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's because of the kind of tools that we use. They work, right?
Yep.
And here's a little caveat: if people are seeking us and willing to pay for our services, they are motivated to change.
Of course.
Right? And
that's true.
And that's a big part of it.
Excellent. So we are at the end of our conversation tonight. I would like you to do, again, as we did before, where can our audience find you guys? Number one, and number two, again, where can we go in order to watch you, on this fantastic movie called The Leap? Exactly.
All right. So to find Leap, you go to coachingmovie.com.
Okay.
And then to find us, you go to passionprovokers.com. And if that's frustrating, you can find us at jamiandmarla.love. And Jami is Jami, no E. So jamiandmarla.love. Or Facebook, you can find us. We have Passion Brokers page on there. So there's a few avenues to find us, and the movie as well, because on our Facebook page and on our website, you will also have links to the coaching movie information.
I just want to give a big shout out to all the coaches in the Leap movie, Patrick and Kasha Wazowski. Thank you for all your hard work as well.
Absolutely. Thank you to all of them. And it's been a real blessing. It's been fun. It's been a great experience for us at Mindalia TV to have you here with us. Really, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. I think that this 97% speaks by itself. So for itself, excuse me. So thank you very much for being with us and sharing so much how you are and how lovable both of you are. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us,
Angel.
Yes, and we're more than happy to come back if you ever would like.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, to everybody at Mindalia TV, this is Angel Rebo. Thank you for being with us tonight, and see you soon. Bye-bye.